Hey guys, welcome to the final lecture in the first section of the basics of getting around in Blender. And in this one, we're going to go over how to customize Blender's layout for your projects. So now that we've gone over a basic definition of all the panels that you see on the screen when you first start a scene, I'm going to show you how to hand tweak and customize the layout and rearrange things. So if you find that you need to, it's something you can do. As most of you have already probably figured out by watching me do it, if you hover over any of these borders, you can left click, drag, and resize a border that way, and it's going to work just like any other Windows works in your operating system. So whether you're on Mac or Windows, you should be fully aware of what I'm talking about when I do this. So not that complicated. Let's get into some more in-depth things you can do with the layout. So if you find it difficult to see some of the options within a panel, you have the option to resize all of the information you see within this panel here, or any of these panels. So the way to do this is to control, middle click, and drag, and if you do that, you will be able to scale the information within this panel. So once again, what I'm doing is I'm navigating out to a blank section here, and I'm holding control, I'm middle mouse button clicking, and then I'm dragging with my mouse, and that's allowing me to resize the buttons and the scale and the squash and stretch factors within this panel. So I don't use that a lot, but you guys may find it useful if you need to be able to read these buttons a little easier. So be aware that that is an option, and it works in all these panels. So you can always come in here and mess with things and change them around that way. One of the other things we'll cover is if you see these three little lines on a panel here, and you see these that are the light shade instead of the dark shade, when you hover over them, your mouse is going to stay the way it is, but if you click and drag, you should be able to rearrange the order that these are in within a panel, and that may be helpful if you get in here and you find that you're using a tool set quite often, and you want to keep it at the same location. You can come in here and rearrange things, and this option is available in pretty much all of these layouts. So if I go over here and let's say I group a lot of things, or I want to handle all my layers, and I want to be able to get to them quickly, I could come up here, drag this to the top, and then I know I've got my layer options right here. So something else to note. Now something that looks really similar to this and maybe a little confusing is that if you see an icon up in the upper right hand corner of a window, it will look sort of like the grip icon. In some windows it's in the bottom left hand corner, as you see here. So this is not the same thing. This one won't change the icon. You'll still see your default cursor if you hover over this and drag around. This one, it will change into a crosshair, as you can see here. And this is a really handy tool which will allow you to change the layout of the panels on the screen. So let me show you how to do this. If you hover over this little grip icon and it changes into the crosshair, you can left click and drag, and if you drag horizontally, you're going to split the window into two sections, left and right, and this will simply add a panel by splitting one in half. So if I don't want this to be the 3D viewport anymore, I can then change this to the UV image editor. And then again, I could split this window again, and you can just keep doing that. Now you can also split the window vertically. So if you click and drag down, you can then split the window this way. So as you can see, you can quickly recreate sort of the layout of these panels and kind of rearrange them any way you want, which is pretty handy. So it's also helpful to know how to get rid of these, which can get quite hectic if you fill the screen up with all these separate panels. So the way you do this is you drag from the panel you want to start collapsing, and you click on the grip the same way you would to split the window, and instead you cross over the border to the other window. Now I'm still holding my left mouse button down and I'm still dragging. So as you can see, there's this arrow displayed right here. This is telling me which direction the window is going to collapse. So if I keep it in this quadrant, this window, it's going to collapse this window into this window. But as you can see, if I drag over to the left, it's going to collapse the other way. So if I let go, it's going to collapse there. One thing to note is that since I've split this window in half, top to bottom, if I try to collapse to the right, it's not going to let me, because first I have to collapse this window so that they are on the same height. So if I take this window and collapse it up, now I should be able to collapse to the right or the left and get rid of that. And once again, I can go back down to here, click 3D view, and I'm now back to my default 3D viewport, and everything's still set up here. So it's pretty handy to know when you are building your own custom layouts, and be aware that you can start by going up here to the information panel, selecting something that you're going to be tweaking, such as let's say UV editing, and you go, all right, well, that's a good start, but I don't like the way this is laid out, so let's keep this one, and let's add another panel here, and then I want to split this one here, and then I'm going to hide these menus by using my keyboard shortcuts T and N, and then all right, let's say I want to change this down here to text editor so I can take some notes, change this over to the properties so I get all my buttons back. And then I've got a little bitty 3D viewport here, big section to take notes in or refer to something that I load up in here. Then I've got my buttons, and now I can play with my textures and my images over here. So pretty handy. Then you can always switch back to your default layout, and there you go. So that's about it with customizing the layout. We're going to get a little more advanced when we get into going into the user preferences down here, and we'll be doing that a little bit later. So this brings us to the end of our section on getting started with Blender, and in the next section we're going to break down the basics of how to navigate, create, and modify objects in the 3D viewport as you see here. So I will see you guys in the next section.